In our quickfire segment today, we have the Green Army. I have three gentlemen. As you can see, they're all kitted green and with the KPL trophy they won. I don't know whether it's beautiful or not. The fans will tell us that. But gentlemen, welcome to the program. Beginning with my immediate right is Victor Nyaoro, the team manager, Gor Mahia FC. Geoffrey Ochieng, of course, assistant captain, Kogalo. And of course, you've played a lot of minutes this season. And to my far right is Jonathan McKinstry, the head coach, Kogalo FC. Let me begin with you, coach. Welcome to the program. How do you feel about this title conquest?
Very good. It's been a long season, almost 11 months since we started pre-season, so you can imagine the effect that has, physically and mentally on everybody involved, players, staff, officials. And so to finally receive the trophy, it's a culmination of a lot of hard work that people don't see. People see the games on a Saturday or a Wednesday afternoon. They don't see the early mornings. They don't see sitting in traffic when there's flooding going out to the training ground. They don't see all of those things. But for the guys who've worked extremely hard, like Geoffrey here, and even like Victor, who's running around, I think he does more kilometers every week than any other Kenyan in terms of getting our logistics sorted. So it's a culmination and a reward for all the hard work that the guys have put in for 11 months.
How would you sum this, Jonathan? Was it easy to win? Was it tough? You won it with game to spare. How do you sum it?
Always extremely tough. Games, you see, obviously you were talking on your previous segment of a game, in Zoya Morahoni, which was a big scoreline, but most games in the KPL are not big scorelines. They tend to be a single goal decides the game, a single moment of brilliance or a team play. And so that constant work rate, that constant effort has to be there, because I've always said this about the KPL. It's not like, say, the German league where the bottom teams will always get beaten by the top teams, or the Premier League in England. Here, a bottom team can win against a top team. We've seen that time and time again. And so you've got to be on your game every single week. So, it's full credit to the guys. They came back in after having won what was their first championship for a lot of them last season, redetermined and reinvigorated to do even better this year. And they managed to do that. We improved in most of our categories. We won the league with a few games to go as opposed to the last game of the season as it was a year ago. And yeah, it's an incredibly difficult league to win. That's been interesting for me as a coach, because you constantly have to be switched on. You don't get a day to rest in this league, but very pleasing, very pleasing.
Geoffrey, from a player perspective, and of course working closely with the coach, how was it for you guys in this season? How do you sum it up?
First, I thank God for this season. And it was not easy for everyone, but we appreciate the work of the technical bench, management, and all players. The unity that was there is what makes us at least to achieve this trophy. Yeah.
A title in the bag, a 21st one for that matter. Probably, if you look back into the season, which game probably do you think was the toughest for you?
The toughest one was against our rivals, FC Leopard.
The Mashimeji Derby?
Yeah.
The first leg or the second leg?
The second leg, yeah.
Why so?
It's the first time we got a red card in this game when we were playing against them. So it was a bit somehow challenging, but we tackled it well and we get a victory in it. Yeah.
Of the Kenyan stadia, actually they're not even stadia, they're just grounds. Which one would you describe as the toughest, probably for Kogalo to get points from?
The toughest one was in, I can say, Moroni and...
Moroni Youth.
In Moroni, then in Bungoma, Sudi Stadium.
Sudi Stadium, against Zoya.
Yeah.
They made life very difficult.
It's very, very difficult there. Yeah.
Okay. TM Nyaoro,
yes.
You deal with logistics of the team. You have to ensure the training kit is ready, the players have drinking water, the travel logistics, how are they landing in Mombasa, where do they gonna stay, and so on and so forth, probably. And this has probably been pointed out as one of the Achilles heel for Kogalo. Next time you guys are going to the CAF Champions League. How ready are you guys for that challenge?
Thanks, Willa. We thank God, as my captain have said. We thank God for this season. We thank God for everybody who has been involved in this journey. We start with the management, the technical bench headed by our able coach, Jonathan McKinstry, and the all staff involved. We thank God for that. It has been a tough season. It is not easy as people might think. Not always easy, very tough. You have to sweat. You have to sweat blood to get this kind of a trophy. On logistics side, we work hand in hand with the partners we have around, with training grounds. Also on the hotels, you have to get them the best hotels around. I think Kogalo is the only team that does not just sleep anywhere.
Oh, you don't just sleep anywhere?
3-star and above.
3-star and above?
Yes, even when you go to a remote town like Bungoma.
Yes, you have to get a 3-star hotel.
Yeah, the way Geoffrey has said,
yes.
You have to get them the best hotel around.
Jaro Soja will be pleased to hear that you guys sleep in 3-star and above.
3-star and above.
Yeah, he's already tuned in.
Where you will only get the presidential suite also involved. So you have to prepare well on those so that the team feels comfortable, and comfortability brings a victory. Yes, on CAF Champions League, we are well prepared, and I can tell you in this side, I'm the saddest person around.
Why are you sad?
In spite of having this trophy in front of us.
Wow, why are you sad?
That we will miss McKinstry in continental part of it.
Yes.
Because I believe a coach that has coached national team, has been on the touchline of international level. I would wish he could have been with us maybe
much longer.
Yeah, much longer. Not even much longer. I appreciate where he's going also. He's going to help the team. But continentally, unfortunately last season we didn't have a chance to go
to continental.
So I would, when somebody can convince him, which is now too late, I could have convinced him to a bit stay longer. We go to continental level with somebody who has international experience like him, but it is life.
And of course, Jaro Soja is tuned and he says, I'm happy to be a champion, but I didn't like the trophy, and here it is. It looks like a jug. Hiyo ni trophy ama njagi. It looks very cheap. Inakaa kama zile za school games ama zile za tona za watu wa siasa. Green Army. That's your number one fan. He's not very pleased with this.
Jaro Soja, what this trophy resembles is much important than the outlook. This is more important than the outlook. Yeah, we don't choose where we get the trophies or the kind of trophies that we get.
That's up to the federation.
It's up to the management of the leagues and the competitions. So the value of it, we should look at the value and not of the looks.
Absolutely. And Coach Jonathan, your team says it's sad to see you go. And that's the question. You've stayed in East Africa quite a time, coaching the Uganda Cranes and now Kogalo. Beautiful region, I believe. You've enjoyed your stint here. Why are you leaving Kogalo, the biggest club in this part of the world?
Two reasons, really. Number one, the job I was asked to do when I came here, we've done that job. You know, when I arrived, I know people like to rewrite history a little bit and make it, you know, a matter of fact that Kogalo win. But if you look back to July 2022, the team was like a ship adrift, you know, and Jeffrey will tell you that summer, and Victor will tell you, was a very tough time. The chairman said when I arrived, you're arriving at the club at the most difficult time in the last 2 decades. We didn't have players. There was days in training where we had 7 or 8 players at training. Most of our star names that supporters might think were the big players had left the club. You know, at the time, we had a sponsor who was not stable before Sport Pesa came back on board and have really helped us. And it was just the training facilities, everything was a bit of a mess, I think we can say. And coming into the club, there was real concerns that if we had a bad injury crisis, because we had the transfer ban, remember, if there was a bad injury crisis, you know, that the big R, that relegation word was even being talked about when I arrived at the club as a fear. And that hasn't been a fear at Kogalo for a few decades. And so for us to have moved, the job was, can you take them back to number one? And we managed to do that over the course of the 2 seasons and to dominate this season the way we have. So that's the first reason. What I was asked to do, we've done. And the second thing is, it's just about opportunities for me. You know, so another team, obviously people are well aware I'm going to the Gambian national team, and they've got big aspirations, having been to the quarterfinals of AFCON recently. They want to go deeper in that. And you even look, you know, at the players, you know, some of our players, some of my new players this season, this summer will be transferring for 20, 30, 40 million dollars. You know, that's one player who could buy the entire Kenyan Premier League. So it's just about levels, I always say. And for me, I really wanted to come to Kogalo. It was a job that a lot of people said, do not take that job, because to win, you have 10% chance of winning.
High pressure cooker.
And but for me, I just knew, I had a feeling. The relationship had started to grow when I was Rwanda coach with Jack Tuasenge and Abuba Sibomana and Mehdi Kagere. And then with Uganda, I was very close. We didn't have any players at the time here, but the relationship and the admiration for Kogalo was always there for 7 years past. And so I always knew I wanted to take this job. But I came, I was asked to do something specific. We've done it. For me, there's a sadness as well, because I've come incredibly close to the players and the staff. And yes, there's part of me would like to step out on that continental scene in the Champions League with Kogalo. But look, we don't get everything we want in life. We've got to make decisions.
Absolutely.
You know, mine was made. But I know, look, this club is much, much bigger than I am.
Much bigger than you are. And the next question maybe I'll pose to you, Coach, is you're heading to the Gambia, and it's one team with Kenya in the qualifiers. And of course, you've worked here. You now know and understand our national team like the back of your hands. Does that make your work easier? Does it give you unfair advantage as you prepare to face us in the next qualifier, round of qualifiers?
I don't necessarily. It gives me a head start. I don't think it makes it easier, because in international football, the nature of international football is by the time you step on the field, you know your opponent inside and out anyway. That's how it's different than club football, because with club football, you've got a game every 3 days, every 7 days. So your analysis and your preparation for that specific game is a much shorter window. Whereas if you think our next games at an international level are not until September, we have 2.5 months to prepare for that game in terms of the analysis and all of the details. So, you know, in that sense, I get a little bit of a head start, but the Kenyan games are only 2 games out of a whole series. So we're expecting, you know, a competitive game. You know, we know the Kenyan team is strong. I expect to see some players, maybe like Jeffrey here, might be lining up against me. We might be on opposite sides of that divide that day. Yeah. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to it, but definitely friendships will be set aside for those 90 minutes.
Absolutely. And Geoffrey, as the coach says, you're going to the CAF Champions League. That's thrice as tough as KPL. Yeah. Actually, the last time you guys reached the group stages of the continental assignment was way back in 2019. Yeah. And I remember the trip to RS Berkane, Morocco, which was an infamous trip, so to speak, because of the logistics we are talking about. But Geoffrey, as we look forward to going to Africa, what's the focus for you individually and also for the team?
For me, the focus is at least we reach where the other time we were able to reach group stage. So now, to me, I feel like if we reach group stage, we'll be okay. Or if we can get another step above.
Those quarters.
Yeah. To the team, I feel everybody is prepared according to the capability of players that we have now. Everyone is prepared for that continental challenge. Yeah.
And probably as a player, basically this is a platform to showcase what you're made of. And we've seen many of your colleagues at Gor Mahia go to bigger things. So you were talking of Eric Marcelo, who is also a left back, just like yourself. Yeah. You talk of Mika Olunga. Actually, when Gor won the title unbeaten, he scored 19 league goals, actually, just like Omala, to help Gor win that title. So probably, looking ahead, what should we expect from Geoffrey in the next 2-3 years? Do you still want to be at Gor, or do you make some strides ahead?
You know, for every player, normally we work to at least achieve something in life. So I was somewhere before I joined Gor Mahia, and I know soonest I'll get opportunity to move to another level also, to compete with all those people who are above me. Yeah.
And TM, Victor, I talked of logistics.
Yes.
From where we're sitting, I hope tomorrow or the next week we won't get news filtering in that Gor Mahia have been sanctioned. You are not going to CAF because of paperwork gone wrong, of a contract breach. How are things now in terms of player contracts, payment of salaries, and basically just honoring contractual obligations ahead of continental assignment?
Thanks, Willa. As a person responsible for the logistics, also responsible for the records. As per now, there is no hindrance to paperworks, contractual obligations, and also club licensing, which my ABO seniors, headed by the CEO and the Secretariat, have done their bit, and hopefully will get cleared, because as we speak, there is no any other case pending on FIFA. Like before, it was there, yet the club never knew. Because I can categorically tell you, if at all those pending issues with FIFA could have arises before the deadline of the club licensing, they could have been sorted.
And as team manager, probably the coach is leaving, but I'll also be posing the same question to him. Which are the areas you're going to beef up ahead of continental sojourn? Is it the defense, attack, midfield, and how many players are you looking at here?
On my part, that is not my line of duty, per se. That is left on the coaching staff, head coach and the coaching staff, to at least see where they need to be beefed up. Yes, me, I deal with logistics, records, and to see...
But you understand football, at least when you have this pre-team meeting, the technical area, of course you discuss. This area, I think we need this kind of right back. I think at this time we need to make a substitution because Geoffrey is losing gas. Probably you're still very much part of it. But Jonathan, you are leaving, yes, but what would you want to be beefed up in this squad as they go to Continental? As you are leaving, I believe you still want them to go far.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the team can compete. I think the first thing people have to understand on the Continental is the landscape has changed significantly. You talk about Kogalo having got to the group stages in the quarterfinals, but that was not the Champions League.
CAF Confederations.
Yeah, no Kenyan team has ever went to the group stages of the Champions League. So should Geoffrey lead the team to that achievement, it will be something for the history books. It really will be. So I think we shouldn't belittle that challenge. That challenge is huge for the guys. The team are very compact. The team, are very close. I think naturally in any transfer window, everyone wants to see signings. Transfer deadline day is the thing supporters and journalists love. But actually, if you ask a team, they like to see maybe 2, 3, 4 new additions. They don't like to see 10 new additions because 10 new additions destabilizes a team for a period of time. And when you're going into Champions League qualification games, what you want is stability, not being unstable. So I think we always want to have good players join the team. I think in all areas, defense, midfield, attack, you want competition for places. And I'm sure the club will bring in a few. I know some names that are potentially joining, that the club have looked at. And I think the team will be stronger next season again, because you got to remember we're coming back from a very bad moment with the sponsors and everything joining in. We're getting back to that healthy state of Kogalo. But let's not kid ourselves. We're still not back to the level of 10 years ago. Like, even to share a little insight with you, over the last 18 months, there's been players I've wanted to bring to this club, but we have been outbid by Bandari, by Tusker, by AFC Leopards, by Police. All of these teams have been able to pay higher signing on fees and higher salaries than Kogalo are currently able to pay. So let's not think that we're back to the heyday of 10 years ago yet. It's coming, but it's a step-by-step process.
Final one, Coach, in 30 seconds from you. You're leaving. Are we likely to see next few months when you leave Kogalo, you head to court my contract have been breached. I hope by now as you part, everything is above board and you're happily living.
What I can say is in my 2 years here, the club have been fantastic. They've honoured every commitment. They've went beyond in some cases. Everything has always been paid on time. The record keeping has been excellent. And so as we sit here at the moment, everything is absolutely fine, you know. And I look back in the past and I think, I don't see, this is not the story that I have lived because the club have been very good.
Very good to you. Geoffrey, in 10 seconds, what should we expect next season?
Trophy.
KPL or Continental?
We are ready to challenge every team in KPL and Continental also.
And also the FKF Cup?
Yep.
Okay. Nyaoro, maybe address the Kogalo Nation?
Thanks, Sheila. We thank every stakeholder in Kogalo family, from the EC management, technical bench, players, and the fans that we are here. We thank them with open heart and all hands together, and together we'll achieve it.
Together you'll achieve it.
Yes.
How far next time?
More trophies. Challenge is group stage, but quarterfinals the other time was in Confederation Cup, but this time round it's Champions League. We are focusing and together as well. And
also tell the EC led by my good friend Rachir to work on having a standard training ground for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, not moving from point A to B every single day.
Yeah, that is it, because also the patron is working around the clock. The CAS, our good friend, CS Oalo, working around the clock
to address that.
To address that, and together as Kogalo family, we will achieve it.
Thank you. That is Victor Nyaoro, TM, Gor Mahia FC, Geoffrey Ochieng, Assistant Captain Kogalo, and Coach Jonathan McKinstry joining us here on Sporty Monday. Of course, they are the freshly minted champions for the 21st time. There's a challenge to Shtera's Leopards and, of course, Zita Jimoi's Tusker FC. At this point in time, we take a brief commercial break. But when we return, we go big on the Euro 2024, including an analysis from Bonn, Germany with Bruce Amani. Stay tuned.